UFTV is your university and community TV station.
Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. I am Sharinda, your host for today, and I am very pleased, little scared, and happy to introduce my guests. First, we'll introduce Mr. Bill Berry. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You are, well, let's wait and see until the end if you're happy that I've had you.
Oh, I've been here before. I know what to expect.
And we also are welcoming Noah. So it's nice to have you here also. And together they are the Distinguished Daredevils. So they are comedians, clowns, as well as stuntmen.
That's right. Yeah.
Noah is a man of many words. You're going to get very close with him, correct? So where are you stationed out of? What is home base for you right now?
We both live in Florida.
Okay.
So I'm in St. Petersburg. He's in
St.
Clearwater. Well,
He moved.
he moved.
Surprise.
Yeah. So it's right across the bridge from Tampa.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And your home base is Florida, but you travel literally around the world.
Oh, yeah.
How many
absolutely.
countries have you had the opportunity to tour?
I should know this answer. I know it's at least 84. I know it's more than that, but I safely 84. And but I've been doing this for 21 years now, so it's been an amazing adventure. And he just got back from China, actually, so he was over there
Yes, and I
performing.
loved all the pictures on social media. You're much more of a talker through photos than voice, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. So how long were you in China?
6 weeks.
Yes, and you were there by government invitation, correct?
Yeah, it's funded by the government, the casino, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so someone has vetted your show before you go over to make sure it's what they want seen for entertainment, and then they give you a stage and provide you opportunities in front of many people that are going through at different times. Is that how that worked?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you worked with other artists that they recruited from other parts of the world, correct?
Mainly Russian, yes.
Okay, so how fascinating to be there in China working with so many different Russians and then being American yourself. That had to have been quite an adventure.
Yes, it was. Da.
Yeah. You brushed up on the Russian a little bit, huh?
Yeah, a little
Good,
bit.
good.
Not too much.
So,
I was going to say, what's something that really stood out about the trip or that surprised you?
the monkeys.
The monkeys.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember the pictures of the monkeys. That was pretty cool. So you had mentioned that you've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yep.
And in addition to this show, you also are a professional juggler.
I've been a professional juggler, entertainer for about, I guess, 22 years total. So I started in 97.
And with the
so.
juggling, you've had the opportunity, I don't know if they still do it, but ESPN used to host world juggling competitions.
Absolutely. So
And are they still doing that?
I actually don't know. I haven't seen one on there.
I
I think
haven't
they've
either
modified it. They do the combat juggling now.
Okay,
So
because I hadn't seen it for a long time either.
Yeah,
But in that competition, you did very well
yeah. So
over the years.
Yeah, so the first time I ever competed, my teammate and I at the time got a silver medal. The second time we went back, competed again, got a silver medal a second time, but didn't give up, kept training, practicing, came back again, and ended up winning several of the biggest competitions, several gold medals. He actually set a new record for bounce juggling, and overall it went really well, and that sort of launched our career. We started doing ships and everything, and now Noah and I have been working together for about a year and a half, pretty regularly, and
And you are no stranger to the cruise lines. Also, you work the cruises also. And when I say the cruises and the cruise lines, we're talking about the big ships with the little windows that look like a town on water.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We're actually doing another one in, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So yeah, we'll be going out on one out of Cape Canaveral.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So
In addition to the juggling and the touring, we talked a little bit about stunts. So you also hold records for real sword swallowing.
real sword swallowing. There's only about 100 legitimate sword swallowers in the world. I thought juggling was obscure until I got into sword swallowing. It's much more rare and really kind of a beautiful thing. It's often presented as a psycho sideshow, freaky kind of thing. But if you actually look at the history, all the way back to the Indian fakirs and some of the ways that they were exploring the body back then. So the people who were putting pins through their body and
further to see what pain threshold they could
yeah,
handle. And
asceticism or aesthetics. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, they would practice these disciplines, and sword swallowing was one of those disciplines of controlling the body. So it's more closely tied to yoga than really anything else.
And we'll segue into yoga because you also are an instructor with that, correct?
Yeah. So.
And again, on social media, some of the pictures that you post of the poses you're holding are just crazy cool.
Well, thank you.
So, but in my opinion, that is also a stunt to be able to do some of those positions and hold them. And then the locations that you've had your picture taken, literally again around the world with some of the exercises you're just doing for your daily routine, but in just amazing space.
Well, exploring the body and breath and how that all goes together is whatever you practice. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's juggling, yoga, sword swallowing, just whatever it is you want to work on, or something not quite as on the fringe or unusual. Just diligent practice, 5 minutes a day. Like if you wanted to learn to juggle, 5 minutes a day, a week or two, you'll have the basics down, and continue doing that for 5 years, and all of a sudden you're quite talented at it, even though you've only done 5 minutes per day. So.
That's a good thing to know, right? So, with the stunts that you do, oftentimes I know people say that can't be real. So, part of what you build into your show is leading people down a path where they think they believe what they're seeing, and then you point out to them that that's exactly what the entertainer wants them to see.
Right.
So you explain the process and myth bust it, and then use the real metal sword.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between a sword and a dagger lengthwise? What's considered a sword and what's considered a dagger?
That's a really good question. I don't know there's a specific distinction. It's sort of, you kind of know it when you see it. There's a difference between sword, dagger, letter opener.
Well, sure. But I wouldn't even put a letter opener in my mouth, would you?
Butter knife?
No, I use it to butter the bread and the potatoes. I'm not going to do that.
He actually just started learning. So we were actually doing an event, and just strange linking of events. There was a woman there who was selling a whole bunch of different medieval armaments that her husband had collected over many years, and they just decided it was time to downsize. So she was out in front of the venue selling all these things. There was kind of a street festival going on. And we found one that actually looked like it would be a good starter sword, dagger.
So
he's a foot shorter than me, so we got him a little one.
Will you wear a t-shirt that says "just my size" when you're practicing? So what has been your favorite place that you've had the opportunity to travel to and share your skills?
Probably China. I really enjoyed it.
And you're planning on going back here soon, aren't you?
Yes, we're going to go back.
And we've heard a little bit of Bill's background and his training. You have some very special training in your background also, and that is that you have trained as a professional clown. So, and that's probably part of the reason why you prefer not to talk, but do more of the facial and the gestures, because that's part of the characters that you have developed. And correct?
Yeah.
That would be a good yes, yeah. So, but why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience? Because there are clown schools, and people don't believe me when I say that.
There are?
The most popular one for many years was Barnum Bailey's clown school, Barnum and Bailey's. And I actually looked into going to that school before I went off another direction. And the older I get, the heavier I get, and the smile, I'm like, yeah, I should have been a clown. So tell us about your background with clowning.
Well, it started in Paris, where I went and I took a 4-week intensive course. And that's where I met my first teacher. And then after that, I went to Barcelona, where he lives, and I trained 2 more weeks with him, one-on-one. And then I went back to Paris, and I took another month-long intensive course. They brought in teachers from all over the world, and they taught for a few days and got to experience a lot of different techniques.
And so did they all train with body, stunt, props, no voice, or did some of them also train where you were using your voice beyond just special effect vocals?
Yeah, a lot of them were more physical. There was a little bit of a language barrier, different people from all over the world working together in one class. So. But yeah, more body than talking.
Because a lot of times in old movies where they have the clowns, or in the murder mystery movies, the clowns are always talking. So a lot of people in the US, they equate no voice to miming. They equate clowning, they're going to talk, there's going to be a lot of vocals. But that's really more of a Western type style clowning, correct? Yeah. So thank you for helping us explain the differences.
It's a really difficult thing to define what is a clown, because you say clown and everyone conjures an image in their mind, and
it's whatever their point of reference
association is. And unfortunately, especially in the US, a lot of times that association is not a positive one. We've had kind of sort of the horror clowns and some of those things that come up, but clowning is one of the oldest art forms, and it's a lot more than just a nose. It's a lot more than an outfit or makeup. There is no universal definition of, oh, this is a clown. It's really difficult to define, and oftentimes I think there's people who are clowning and we don't even really realize they're clowns. Like most people wouldn't think of Jim Carrey as a clown.
Oh yes, I would. Would you? Jim Carrey? He is such a
stand-up comedian, but absolutely, he's very physical.
He's very physical.
But he never, that I've seen, he doesn't wear a nose.
Right, but I would definitely see him as, I guess you're right. I would equate the heavy physical comedy as more of a clowning comedy. And again, that's because we had the Jerry Lewises and we had others that introduced that to us. So, but before them, we're the circus clowns. So Buster Keaton is another one that...
Oh yeah, one of the kings.
Yeah. And we were talking about that last night, where because it's one of the oldest art forms of entertainment, the artist must be very dependent on wit, processing and knowing where things are headed, paying attention to those around them so that they can feed off of that, and what might be right there right now that can be used that no one else sees as a prop. So
one of our teachers described it as the clown comes into the world without preconceived notions. We look at this and we know exactly what it is. We know what its properties are. We know how it works. We know there's a hole at the top you drink water out of. A clown will come in and
not know what that is.
Explore this with an alien perspective, and they bring us into that perspective. So, and that can be anything they want. It's one of our teachers came in and found a broom and started exploring the broom, and literally like a child, like put it in his mouth. And I remember this moment. It was so visceral for me because there was a piece of hair from this like classroom broom, because we're in classrooms, and he's like, this hair, and I was like, oh, but
Yeah.
he had that effect. He impacted us within
Yeah.
seconds, because you're like, oh, that was, everybody who's ever gotten a little
Yeah.
hair, you're like,
Don't do that, don't do that.
right,
Yeah.
right, but at that point, we're engaged.
Yes,
So
yes.
the clown will go there, and that's what we're waiting for. So.
And so you have taken all of your many talents and obviously have learned to communicate with other people around the world using your talents, but you have taken those and brought them together as a team to create what is known as the
Distinguished Daredevils.
Yes, Distinguished Daredevils. So what distinguishes you two Daredevils from the other Daredevils?
We're distinguished. He's the distinguished one. I'm the daredevil.
So,
I can actually show you one of the ways he's distinguished.
okay.
Yeah, pull your tie out, Noah. So, in fact, we've got a camera here, so this is perfect. So here, stand up, Noah. We'll do this so everyone can see. Have you ever seen? Well, actually, you have it on your camera now, the slow-mo, where it takes the video and it's 400 frames per second kind of thing. So it used to be a high-tech thing that you could only use with really expensive cameras. So we're going to actually show you an example of this, where a high-speed camera would actually. So I'm going to fold. This is the long end. This is the short end. I'm going to fold it to where they're about the same right there. I'm going to roll them up. And you'll be able to do this from home, slow motion. Now I'm going to let go. You're okay. I'm going to let go. You have to decide, you watch, which end gets to the bottom first, the short end or the long end? What do you think? Short end or long end?
Oh man, I think it was close to a tie.
You're right, it's a tie.
Wow, and I didn't even know it. Thank you.
No, tuck your tie in. Don't want to be seen this way.
So, in addition to such fun and antics, have you created, like, is your show set so that you pretty much know what you're going to do and you can tailor it for the audience each time and you just call it Distinguished Daredevils? Or is it totally improv and it's free for all, you're the Distinguished Daredevils and everyone's in for a surprise every time?
There's absolutely no room for flexibility.
Well, you're swallowing swords, and I know there's some tasers and some other things going on, so maybe there is no room for flexibility.
Oh, we do have a structure. There's some music cues that we're going to do certain things to certain tracks, so that's planned. But within the routines, and especially between the routines, we are completely open to reacting in the moment. We're real big on if something happens organically in the moment to explore that, to see where it goes. So there's certainly improv, there's certainly a lot of planning, and we do rehearse some of the things. And at the same time, almost every show we discover at least a couple of new things. We're like, whoa, that was cool, and it's an exploration for us as well.
So that keeps it fresh too. You're not getting bored.
Yeah.
Well, and the energy of the audience probably affects the performance. Not when I say that. If you're looking for something organic to happen, the audience is part of that organism, correct?
Yeah.
So if they're seated a football field away and you can barely even tell they're in the room, that's going to affect how that show goes for you also, I'm guessing, compared to if they're right here with you and able to be part of and are getting what's happening even when they don't realize they're being set up.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
Well, and it's almost as if you have 1,000 people in the crowd, you come out with a certain energy, you have to throw it to the back row.
Sure.
Whereas if you have 30 or 50, you come out with that same 1,000-seat energy, and you almost, it's too much.
Them, because that wall that needs to be there so that they can see through the screen, it's down, and they're just like, ah.
Yeah. So you.
Did I do that well?
You did.
Thank you.
Good facial expression. Good projection.
Okay, so I really want to see some of your stunts. Did you bring any of your equipment with you?
Absolutely. Never leave home without it.
Would you like to see some stunts? So yeah, let's do that. So I think we're gonna do a little bit of a set change.
All right.
So we have some space here.
All right, hold on. Set change. Ready.
Okay. That always scares me because I'm afraid that it's going to go flying off of his head.
I've seen the show before. I'm afraid of the same thing.
Okay, now you're showing
Show off.
Believe it or not, I have not even begun to show off. Big trick. Oh. Wait, one foot.
job. Show off. Yes.
All right. Here, Sharinda, you step right up here.
Okay.
And hold on to this. Solid as can be. Don't move it off.
Hold on tight, Sharinda. Don't drop it. Grandma will get super cool.
Yeah. This is great.
Got so much bounce, body. Quick impression. This is what I would look like with hair.
How do I get myself into these things?
All right, the final test. 1, 2, 3. Good. Steady. Don't move. Good job. Well done.
Thank you. Back to you.
So as we spoke of earlier in the episode, we are going to demonstrate some sword swallowing. Noah, if you will.
Yes, I'll get us started. Now, sword swallowing, yes, here we go. I have my own way of doing it. Ta-da! The sound of disappointment. I can hear you at home, yes.
That's the most impressive part to me.
Yeah, that took a lot.
I've tapped out.
Here we go. Sharinda, you're going to have to pull the sword out, okay?
Okay.
All right. You'll know when, don't worry.
I got
Okay.
you. I got you.
That's unbelievable.
Looks like it's getting stuck.
I know, and that's making me weird.
Go fix it. All right, just grab hold.
Crazy.
Slide it out.
Souvenir!
Thank you. No, thank you.
fine.
Now the real question: where did the air go? Yeah, I have to ride home with him later. It's gonna be terrible. So, but
The Bill's case.
taking it. Okay, you threw it in my case. Fair enough. Actual, genuine sword swallowing. And you also get to slide this one out. So this is not a numbing spray or anything. It's just a sanitizer to prove that it does not numb the tongue at all.
Didn't do anything. I don't know.
Yeah, perfect. Does not numb anything. You have to feel what's happening. And just like I was saying earlier about yoga, use breath control, body control. There's one stunt, absolute silence. Thank you. Don't make me laugh. Don't come out my nose.
I promise I'm not going to. I don't want to hurt you. Oh my gosh.
Well
Good
done.
job. Well, thank you.
Good. You were great.
Yeah.
High five.
High five. I can't do it. Thank you. Yes. Oh my gosh. That's a stunt.
And now
That
you
is a
get to
stunt.
help us out for our final act of the evening. Well, hopefully it won't be the final act of the evening. But, so, yeah, that came out wrong. But if you could come around here to the front
Okay.
for us.
Okay.
We're just going to have you stand.
Right there on the trap
I'm
door.
gonna have to come around this
This
way.
very good.
I'll get to the trap door, I promise.
Perfect,
A
right
lot
there.
of special stuff on the floor here.
And just hands to your side. Smile real big. Don't move at all. Because we're going to take some juggling props, throw them around you. Some in front, some behind. Even if our studio audience here starts going crazy, don't take a bow. And no one's going to take it up a notch.
Just a knife. Don't worry.
All right, don't move at all.
I trust them with my life.
Ready, Noah?
You ready? Let's do this.
Which pattern do you want to do?
That one. I like
Perfect.
that.
That's my favorite one.
Okay, good.
Hey, Sharinda, don't move at all. We're going to pass these around you. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that I can handle.
So much danger.
Yes.
Okay, for real, for real.
I'm not gonna. Oh my gosh, that's really close.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the University of Findlay's Agriculture Show. I'm Sharinda, your host. If I'm alive for the next episode, we'll see you then.
There's just one more little problem.
We don't know how to stop.
Be well.
Just kidding.
UFTV is your university and community TV station.